My situation prior to working with CRC and Tammy was that I had just come out of a very, very ugly family situation, a divorce. I had actually been recruited away from my present position, and that went awry very quickly. So here I was, without a family, without a job, and also I was accused, wrongly accused, of some criminal activity, which led to the firing of my position. So all in the span of about 6 months. So I felt like there was very, very little hope for me in the job. I was unemployed for a period of 18 months during this process. So dealing with all those factors, dealing with the uncertainty, was a very, very difficult time for me. My job search activity was what I would call the traditional methods of job searching. I would check websites, I would respond to ads on websites, various job boards. I would attend some job search meetings, but it was very sporadic and non-targeted. It was more of a reactive approach, very limited, very sporadic, and I was very distracted throughout the whole process as well after having all these issues that cropped up into my personal life. My frame of mind during this job search was very negative, I felt hopeless. Since I had been charged with a crime that had since been dismissed and expunged, it was an unfounded crime, which led me to me losing my last position. I was in a state of despair. I was hopeless. I felt that no one could hire me, that here I am in the peak of my career after having worked for several large companies, 2 large companies my entire career, all of a sudden without a job. So I didn't know where to turn. So I finally came to the realization that something had to change. I attended a workshop that CRC and Tammy had put on, and when I listened to the approach that the company takes with the individuals, a light bulb went off in my head. I said to myself, this is so different than what I'm used to. This is so different than the traditional means of looking for a job that this really makes sense. So at the time, I was also looking into hiring another executive search firm. So even when I compared CRC to this other search firm, there was no comparison.
Why is that?
What CRC and Tammy did for me was target my specific skill set, identify my specific skill set, identify the strengths that I have, target them to specific companies that I would want to work for, companies that are expanding, that are growing. So I became on the offensive instead of on the defensive, as opposed to applying for jobs. I would now go search out for companies that I would have an interest in, that I knew that were growing, that I could really apply my skills. So there's an extensive branding process through CRC, and very, very exhaustive process that the company and I go through extensive research to figure out my strengths, to figure out what makes me tick, what my key attributes are. When I first received the results of the branding process in the form of an initial resume, I was really, really blown away. I was really excited that, oh my gosh, I'd accomplished all this, and the things that I took for granted over the years, really, really large accomplishments.
Yeah. Prior
to working with CRC, I did not have an online presence. So CRC taught me and developed for me a specific online presence that marketed my skill set, the companies that I'm looking to work for. So coming from a so prior to CRC, I had no online presence, and now I have a very, very distinct and marketable online presence.
Okay.
The number of hours I spent searching online was significant each week. What I liked about the process that I went through with CRC is they kept me accountable. I would account for the number of hours each day. I would search for positions or research companies and be held accountable for it. We would set targets for each day and each week, and then review the progress against that. So the number of hours varied, but I treated it like a full-time job. When I reached out to a company, the hiring process of the company that I'm currently employed went like this. They responded to a targeted piece of direct mail that I sent to them, identifying my skill set. I received a call from the executive VP, and he wanted to have an initial conversation. So within a matter of 2 weeks, I received an offer from that. And during that process was coached very, very distinctly and very thoroughly from CRC. When I talk about my current position, I'm very excited. Prior to this current position, I had worked in traditional roles in traditional large companies. CRC taught me to target growth companies, smaller companies that had growth opportunities, and as a result could reward high performers for their contributions. So my position now is such that it's a small company. I'm able to make some dramatic change, and I'm very well compensated for it. I'm very comfortable in multiple six-figure income now as a result of the work through CRC.
So you're growing higher?
I see myself staying in this position and also allowed the opportunity to grow significantly within this company, as I'm currently visiting with them about how they can utilize my skills on a grander scale. If you are considering working with CRC and the staff, I am a huge supporter of the process that CRC takes you through. It's definitely a process approach. It's one that holds you accountable. It's one that identifies a job-specific approach designed for you and only you. So it's very, very worth. It's extremely. It's definitely worth the investment, and I would say that you should look at it as an investment in yourself, as an investment in the development of your career and and really in your life. Mm-hmm. If you're somewhat hesitant or reluctant to making investment in this process, my advice to you would be, think of it this way. You're making an investment in your career. No one is going to think about your career except yourself. I think we go into employment thinking that the company is going to take care of me and the company is going to look out for my growth and advancement. Well, the person who does that is really you, and CRC teaches you how to do that in a very successful way. So it's definitely worth the investment. You think of it as in terms of investing in your long-term career, and CRC coaches you how to secure a higher paying job or higher paying position. So that certainly is offset by that higher salary.
Okay.
Without CRC, I never would have found this company. I was targeting entirely different companies, but CRC taught me the processes to find a company that's a good fit for me, and that's very, very important. So I'm at a company now that is a very good fit. They value my opinion. They listen to my ideas. We work as a team. We're a very cohesive team. And finally, and most importantly, I'm paid very, very well. I'm paid what I'm worth. And my contributions don't go unnoticed. They're noticed. I'm become a leader within the company in a very short time frame, and that's exciting. It's very exciting. So overall, I never would have dreamed that I could have found a company like this. Right here in Kansas City, just a few miles from my house. So, and I'm very excited. So it's very, very rewarding, and I owe that to CRC.
And